So, with it being made official that Logan Paul is going to face Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel on November 5th in Saudi Arabia for the Undisputed Championship, obviously, I think I mentioned this in my original video on it, not a lot of people were thrilled. Not a lot of people were thrilled. In fact, they feel basically, depending on how they view it, the overall consensus is they feel it's a dumb idea. That one, Logan Paul is only competing in his third match and already he's competing for the undisputed title. Two, they basically don't understand why, WWE would rely on him instead of relying on someone like an AJ Styles, maybe doing champion versus champion with Braun Breaker, stuff like that. And I believe I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this in the original video, and I'm sure others have thought about it too this way. Logan Paul probably had it in his contract to, get a championship match whenever he wanted. Like if he won his first singles match, whenever that would happen, he would get a title shot or something. And lo and behold, I guess that's what's going on. But when I hear people like Just Alex, I'm pretty sure currently right now he's doing his podcast live, his off the script Sunday edition of his podcast live right now, that being JD from NY206. I'm pretty sure himself, like I said, Just Alex. I can kind of tell by listening to a clip from Jason Solomonster's podcast from this morning. And I'm sure everybody else has kind of thought this way to an extent. Like I said, they're not happy. But some of them, the way they express that they're not happy, like let's say a Just Alex, and most definitely a JD, they they are pissed. They are just pissed off to no extent. They are pissed off to no extent. Because, as I mentioned, there's other talent out there that they could put in the ring with Roman. Now, Alex, as I mentioned in the original video, he, and I'm pretty sure others, agree along with him, don't think this is a big deal because the Crown Jewel show is technically non-canon. It's just a big, over-the-top extravaganza house show that's taking place in Saudi Arabia. But, as I mentioned before, in the previous video, just because it's taking place in Saudi Arabia doesn't mean things can't happen. Let's not forget, I think it was The Fiend that lost his championship to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel. It was Seth Rollins that lost his title to The Fiend in Saudi Arabia. So these kind of things, can indeed happen. These kind of things can indeed happen. But, honestly, people like Alex and others, I'm pretty sure, as I mentioned too, that agree with him to an extent, feel like this is not a big issue. It's not a big deal, whatsoever. It's not a big deal, to really, be concerned about because there's no way they feel Roman would lose to Logan Paul. And they do have a right to that opinion. Logan Paul is the kind of person that you don't think, is going to beat Roman, that he's just another body for Roman to beat. But then again, he does have the celebrity status. And when you hear people like Alex come out and, basically be very animated, if you will, in his ranting of this, a lot of people will point to that. And even though they may agree with him to an extent with what he says, others that hear that, will probably point out that it's not just anger that's fueling Alex Hicks, just Alex's anger towards this decision. It's not just, anger, and disappointment as feeling someone like JD's position on it, or even Solomonster's or anybody else's. But it's the fact that Logan Paul, like all of us, got his start on YouTube. He is a fellow YouTuber that just got lucky to amass such an audience and fan base when he did, that when people hear someone like Alex come out and say, just rant the way he did on the situation, and others that will follow suit, if not already, what they sense isn't someone that's just disappointed in WWE because this is something they should avoid, they shouldn't be doing, even if it's for a blood money show, as they call it, in Crown Jewel. But others will look at that and pinpoint that as, that anger being more along the lines of jealousy. And look, I'm not saying that's what a lot of people that, view what, Alex is saying, or how he feels about the situation. I'm not saying that's how they view it. I'm not saying that's how they view how JD feels about it or anybody else feels about it. But, there are a mass majority of people that are non-wrestling fans, occasional wrestling fans, and all that will look at someone like an Alex, a JD, a heel Steven, a Solomonster, a good mic work and all that. And they'll say the only reason you're angry isn't because you feel it's a bad idea and they shouldn't do it, but you're angry because, one, you're afraid they might do what you don't want them to do, and that's put the belt on Logan, or have Logan beat Roman in some manner. And two, and this being the big one, you guys are jealous. You're jealous of the fact that he's a YouTuber that got lightning to strike when it needed to, a massive following, and he's doing things you guys could only dream of. And look, like I've said in many of my videos, people have a right to their opinions. If they feel that, that's the case, if they feel, that's the case to an extent, like I said, you can't blame them because, that's how they view it. Me, I look at the fact that I understand where a guy like Alex, a guy like JD, and all of them are coming from. If you're going to have Logan Paul be put into the situation, don't make it for the title. Make it a special attraction match. Make something else the main event, if you will. I mean, heck, you always like to push Mansoor, or Mansoor as he's now known, in the Maximum Male Models. You always like to push him when you're in Saudi Arabia. Why not push him in a main event match, like a Battle Royal, or some kind of a championship contender match where, he'll get when the next time they're in Saudi Arabia, he'll get the next shot of whoever the, champion is. Stuff like that. That's how a lot of people feel, and I agree with them. You should have gone, in the direction of this matchup, but that's not the case. Instead, we are going to get an undisputed championship match, between these two. And again, I understand where the anger is coming from because, hey, it's one thing if you want to just do an attraction match, put it in the middle of the show, and then end the show with something different. That's great. But you're basically advertising something, that's going to be for the WWE's top prize. And now you got fans, hardcore fans, maybe occasional fans and all that, angry at the idea that this person who made a name for himself on YouTube got himself in some controversial water for, taking a picture with a dead body and all that, is suddenly now one step closer to becoming champion. Something they don't want. And again, we can all understand the frustration, but then again, like I said, there are those that will look at how Alex feels about this. They will look at how JD feels about this, and others feel, and they'll say, well, depending on how they, vocalize their frustration, will tell whether or not they're jealous or they're just angry with this decision. And I guarantee you, if they look at how JD's going to eviscerate this decision, how they've seen Alex eviscerate this decision in their rant, in his rant. The casual wrestling fan or the casual YouTube viewer that might watch, these videos out of recommendation or whatever, they won't see people that are angry with this decision. No, they'll see people that are jealous. They will see people that are jealous. And again, they have a right to view it that way. I mean, heck, I'll be honest. There's a part of me that's jealous too. I mean, I've been on YouTube a lot longer, I think, than Logan Paul. I think we all have. But yet, like I said, lightning struck, at the right time for him to get a massive audience that he did and get where he's at. But still, even I, to an extent, am a little jealous. But I can understand, being a longtime fan, that this is something that happens on occasions. This is something that happens, and, there's nothing you could really do about it. Now, again, the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, that makes them angry is they're kind of upset at the idea that there's a possibility Logan Paul can win. Like, he won't win the championship. That would be stupid. But even I can agree with that. But they're kind of afraid that he'll win the match by some kind of, quirky decision, like count out, disqualification, or whatever. Now, the way I look at it, though, non-canon or not, if there's more to this matchup, storyline-wise, than just, it's a one-off deal for Saudi Arabia, then I'm all for it. And in fact, I was even thinking about this, too, before I came on here to do this audio, that what if part of this, as a storyline, as an angle, Logan Paul comes out in a couple of weeks. He comes out to the ring in a couple of weeks, whether it's on Raw and SmackDown, or even on his Impulsive podcast, and makes the announcement that even if he doesn't win the title, from Roman, if he doesn't win the title, but he wins somehow, that basically all that matters is him winning, that if he wins, no matter how it's done, that the stipulation is that Roman, to keep his championships, is the fact, okay, let me rewind there. Okay. What I'm saying is, like I said, I thought about this before I came on to do the audio. And like I said, what if it is a part of a story angle to where Logan Paul, acknowledges, I might get my ass kicked, and Roman might beat me, but all I have to do is beat him. But he doesn't specifically say he has to beat him for the title. He just says, I got to beat him to give everybody what they want. And then maybe that's when he reveals, like I said, either on Raw or SmackDown or on his Impulsive YouTube podcast, that all he has to do is win to give everybody what they want, because once he wins, then the only way Roman gets another shot at the titles, depending on what Logan Paul, decides to do with them, or, he retains the titles, but he loses via count or disqualification, that the only way Roman gets to keep his titles, after Crown Jewel, is to be on Raw and SmackDown every week from then on in, with the occasional with him occasionally competing every other week. I could see that probably playing into the storyline, because one, that would resolve an issue everybody's been having. It's like, why isn't the champion on Raw? Why isn't the champion always on SmackDown? Well, if they go in that direction with Logan Paul saying, hey, I just have to win no matter what the situation, to give the fans what they want, and that's Roman Reigns on television every week, whether he's competing or not, with the occasional competing every other week, then I could buy into that. I can understand, okay, that makes sense. That resolves an issue. So that might be what happens. We don't know. It's just me speculating off the top of my head of exactly what they could do to get more people invested in this. But I do agree with one thing. You need to turn Logan Paul heel after this. It does not matter what you do. You need to turn him heel. And look, I understand people saying that, well, as long as The Miz is a face, that's not going to happen. Really? Really? What if you reveal that Logan Paul is the one responsible for Dexter Lumis going after The Miz? What if you reveal that? I guarantee you, not only would you turn Logan Paul heel, but by extension, you could be turning Dexter Lumis heel as well, showing that he's a silent assassin or mercenary or stalker for hire. So, that's something they could do there as well. That's something that they could do there as well. Heck, you could even have him turn heel by basically having Karrion Kross attack Roman and then say he has Karrion in his back pocket and he'll call upon him when he needs him. You could do that too. The point is, whatever the situation, however the match outcome, occurs at Crown Jewel, which again, I'm definitely going to say this. I think Logan will win, but he ain't winning the title. It's going to be a counter or DQ, which will result in Roman Reigns, I'm guessing, going back to being a kind of weekly appearance and competitor on Raw and SmackDown, because I think that might be the way they get around the whole, okay, we need to make Roman look strong going into Mania, but he needs to appear on both shows every week till then. I think that's one way to get around to it. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but still, whatever happens, Logan Paul loses, fine. Logan Paul wins, but doesn't win the title, fine. You have to turn him heel. And you have to do it in a way that's believable, believable to a T to the point that there's no going back. No matter what you do with the guy, there's no going back. You have to turn him heel. That's the goal. Well, that should be the plan. That after Crown Jewel, Logan Paul goes heel. End of story. But again, I agree with a lot of folks, that are angry about this. Yeah, the timing isn't good. I will agree with that. But I also agree with the fear that, WWE might do what they shouldn't, what they really shouldn't do. But hopefully they don't. And again, if it's a creative way to get Roman on the shows, both shows, every week, with every other week being a match he competes in, no matter what kind, then so be it. If that's going to be the stipulation that Logan Paul adds saying that all I have to do is win to make that happen, then that's okay. That's cool with me. But again, I understand where people like Alex and Solomon and JD, all of them are coming from. But again, going back to what I said earlier, you can have the casual fan tune into these video rants about it. You can have the occasional YouTube viewer tune into these videos because it's recommended to them. And all they could probably see is somebody that's not justifiably angry over something that shouldn't be happening, but they could see somebody in their point of view that's jealous. They're jealous. They're mad that here's this guy that probably started maybe after they did on YouTube, who got lucky, in striking gold when he did, all of a sudden being put into a position that, doesn't make sense or isn't justified. And that maybe they believe that should be them and not him. Again, that's just my opinion, how I think people view it. And I don't blame Alex and all that, because like I said, a part of me is kind of jealous too. But, I'm at the point like, hey, whatever WWE does, it's on them. If they decide to give the belt to Logan, or they decide this is the one creative way to get Roman on the show every week, both shows that is, with a stipulation of, hey, if he loses by counter or DQ and keeps the belt, the only way he remains the champ is he's got to be there every week and compete every other week, then so be it. But we'll see what they do. We got about a little over a month before we head in that direction, but we'll see what they do. But let me know what your thoughts are on this. How do you feel about this decision for Crown Jewel? Do you think it's a smart decision? Do you think a lot of the YouTubers that are ranting about it are maybe showing a bit of jealousy, or do you think they're justified in how they feel? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check me out at my Teespring store. Also check me out at BW Roses. Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also support me financially ASAP on Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 and at Cash App at BW Roses 98. Also, you could check me out, ladies and gentlemen, and at patreon.com at BW Roses, the $1, $3 tier. You can also check me out at deviantart.com, says BVW1979. And also at VENMO, at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else. But until next time, guys, again, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm out.